Hello everybody, welcome to part 2 of best serving temperatures for alcohol. This week we are doing beer, and we're going to be letting you know the best temperatures for serving all different kinds this week, so stick around.
Hello everybody, welcome back to corkandjava.com. I'm Billy and this is Bryn, and we all know you're supposed to find joy and fascination and even the little things in life that most people take for granted. So we're here to expand and enrich your experience with all of your favorite beverages through wine, coffee, and beer, reviews, and how-tos. So if that sounds interesting, consider hitting that subscribe button down below so you're notified when our future videos come out. Alright, shall we get to it?
Let's get to it.
Alright, last week we showed you the best serving temperatures for all different types of wine and tips and tricks for how to best serve them. So if you haven't seen that first, go check that out on our channel. And today we're going to be sharing you all about beer and the different styles and which serving temperatures best highlight the qualities and the characteristics that the brewers meant to capture when they made those beers.
Perfect.
So the temperature that you're serving your beer, drinking your beer, makes a really big difference in the way it tastes. Obviously, a lot of commercials for, the Coors Light and stuff brag about how cold their beer is, which really has nothing to do with the beer making process at all.
The can turns blue or whatever, or the mountains appear.
Yeah.
It's ready.
Yeah, Coors Light market is to people who don't know how to hold a can to see, oh, it's cold. They need a visual cue to see, oh, mountains are blue. My beer is cold. But yeah, so their thing is, cold beer is great. Cold beer is really good. And really that just means the flavor sucks so bad that get it really cold so you really don't taste it. Which, the colder you make a beverage, the less you're going to be able to taste it, the less you're going to be able to smell it. So if your beer isn't very good, really cold is kind of what you want. But there are different beers that are meant to be colder than others. So let's start out with what the coldest beers are.
Okay. So what are the coldest beers?
So American lagers, Kolsch's, stuff like that are pretty much the ones that you want to have at the coldest temperature. So your typical light lagers, and this is normally the draft temperature that you're going to get at most restaurants, and it's also conveniently the refrigerator temperature. Most people are around 36 to 38 degrees. So a light lager, your Bud Lights, like a Kolsch. Yeah, this one's a Kolsch. Those will do perfectly fine, storing them in the fridge, drinking them right at that temperature. So those light lagers, very light beers, they go well at around refrigerator temperature.
All right, so what is the next style going up in temperature for beer?
So your ambers, your like Oktoberfest lagers, they're going to be a little bit warmer than that fridge temperature, but really by the time you start drinking it and stuff like that, it's going to be warming up in your glass or in your hand. So it's still okay for those to be served at the draft temperature or the straight out of the fridge. Yeah, I mean, those are fine. I mean, you're kind of nitpicking at that point. The ideal range is around 45 to 50 degrees or so. So it's really a little bit warmer than the fridge, but by the time you're drinking it, it's going to get to that temperature anyway. It's not like wine where you can really have a glass not last too long. I mean, you can, unless you're chugging your beer, it can last 30 minutes if you're just sipping it. So it'll get to that temperature and beyond it, and you'll notice the different flavor changes from when you first are trying it to when you're finishing it. So that's a good experiment to try at home. Take note of the temperature or the tastes of your beer when you first start drinking it, when it's at its coldest, and then notice how it changes as you're drinking it through. And by the end, take note of what different characteristics you're picking up as it's a little bit warmer than when you first started drinking.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's generally really good when you first start drinking it straight out of the fridge, and then the longer it warms up, it like kind of goes like if you've had warm beer. It's so gross to me. I don't like that at all. So,
but yeah, that's especially true for the lighter lagers,
Yeah.
the Hefeweizens, and the lagers and pilsners and stuff like that. Yeah, once they start getting warm, you start getting some flavors in there that you know, aren't the best. They're best chilled and crisp. But yeah, in that 45 to 50 degree range, you get also like blonde ales and cream ales in there as well. Go really well at that temperature.
Okay, so how about pale ales?
So pale ales are split between American pale ales and British pale ales typically. The American ones, so we're getting a little bit more hop characteristics than we were on the other beers that we did, and a little bit more flavor profile. So still around the 45 to 50, you can get up to 55, get away with that. It'll be great. But once you get to the British pale ales, they're a little bit more hoppy in characteristics, and they actually do better a little bit warmer. So around 50 to 55 degrees is kind of your target temperature for your British style pale ales.
All right, so next we have India pale ales.
You could do a whole video on India pale ale temperatures because it's a very wide category. I mean, you're going to get a lot of hop pretty much in all the Indian pale ales, but they have different kind of hops and different yeast strains and different alcohol levels. I mean, they're all you're going to want warmer than refrigerator temperature, but it can range. Indian pale ales be really good at 45, depending on the ones that you have, to 55. And it's kind of one of those things you got to do trial and error, or if the brewer has a recommended serving temperature, to go with that. But yeah, India pale ales, that's a different ball game. You can go anywhere, I would say 45 to 55, depending on the one you have. And if you got a 6-pack, try it at a few different levels, see which way you like it the best.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
All right, so what are your thoughts on stouts and black ales and porters?
Ooh, these are very high malt flavors in these, and those do well at a little bit warmer temperatures. Not too much though, especially if you've got like a nitro stout that has nitrogen gas incorporated into. You can go as low as 40 on that. Well, 40 to 45 degrees for a nitro stout, and then kind of let it warm up as you're drinking it. But that's the key with most stouts is you start out a little bit colder than recommended, and by the time you finish drinking it, it's a little warmer than recommended. So I usually recommend serving between 45 and 55 for most stouts and porters alike. And you can stay at the high end with like a milk stout or like a brown ale or something like that. Stay in the 50 to 55 range. Those do well at warmer temperatures. And now for imperial stouts, those do best at like that 55 degree range. I wouldn't go much cooler than that because those are packed with robust flavor. And if you go down below 55 degrees, you're gonna start missing out on a lot of the complexity that comes along with an imperial stout.
All right, so what about sour beers?
So sour beers, because of their nature, like lambics and stuff like that, they're gonna have a lot of obviously sourness to it. And you can get kind of like really funky ones, and you can kind of get fruity, refreshing ones. But really for all of them, because of the sour nature, I usually go a little bit cooler, like around 40 to 45 degrees, to kind of cut down a little bit on that sour characteristic, some of those acids and stuff that you can get in those. And I think warm sours just can get disgusting, especially the funky ones that kind of smell a little bit like a barnyard. Yeah, those don't do good once they start warming up.
Truthfully, I don't care for sours cold either. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of sours in general, but those of you that are, I recommend the 40 to 45 degree range.
All right, and finally, what are your thoughts on Belgian doubles and triples?
So doubles, I tend to like to go a little bit warmer. They are usually very malt heavy, very fruit forward, and they usually pack a high ABV. So they can go, generally I recommend 50 to 55 degrees for the serving temperature on those. And it really just brings out a lot of the great flavors and characteristics in a lot of the nutty and some banana clove flavors that you get in a lot of doubles. It really serves well at a little bit of that warmer temperature. Now for triples, they're a little bit different. They're a little bit paler, a little bit lighter in body, still pack a really high ABV. And because of all of that, they do better a little bit colder, so between 40 and 45 degrees for your triples. And a lot of times they got a spicy characteristic there, so it cuts on that a little bit when you're chilling it just a little bit lower than you would a double or a quadruple. I would put the quadruples in the same category as the doubles.
All right, so out of all the beers that we listed, leave a comment below with which one is your favorite and how you like to enjoy it.
Awesome. Yeah, and make sure you're hitting us up online. We got a Facebook group, Cork and Java. We got a Twitter as well, @Cork and Java, and a Pinterest page.
No, just @Cork.
Oh yeah. For our Twitter, it's just @CorkJava. And our Pinterest page, Cork and Java, you can find us there. We're pinning a lot of great stuff, so check us out. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys online. Until next time, bottoms up.